Text messages, postings on social media pages, phone calls, all of this is intelligence that's gathered by the military and then used to make critical decisions. Now, in the past, there was a room full of human beings that would have to sit there and analyze all this intelligence. But now we have AI, and this is exactly what AI is really good at. It ingests data, and then it tells you, here's an important note you should take out of this. Here's my summary. Here's one phone call that's better than all the other phone calls that you should actually be listening to. And so this is critically important right now in the Middle East, where we're seeing this AI technology being used. But spinning forward, it's only going to become more important as AI gets better, and the military wants to integrate it into more parts of its weapons arsenal.
Okay, so just orient us, Shira. How did this whole fight start?
It actually starts in this very positive, optimistic way in that the Pentagon invites all these AI companies to basically come into the military and show them how they can be helpful. How can the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, start integrating AI into its own systems? And they immediately get a lot of takers. You've got Silicon Valley's biggest AI companies, Google, xAI, Anthropic, and OpenAI. And of all the AI companies that begin working with the Pentagon, Anthropic emerges as kind of the best and the most seamlessly integrated into the Pentagon systems. It's working with Palantir, this data analytics company. It's one of the only ones that is approved to work on classified systems. And so people across the DoD tell us that it really quickly became absolutely fundamental to their work and made their lives easier.
Okay, so I just want to pause here because from what I know of Anthropic, this is a company that brands itself as the socially responsible AI company, the company that emphasizes AI safety a lot. And so it's just kind of interesting to me to hear that they were the first ones to be so embedded within the US military.
That's true. This is a company that was founded by people who left OpenAI because they wanted a safer AI company. They said they wanted more safeguards. I mean, this is their entire premise and how they draw employees to work there. What they also are, however, is a company that really believes in working with the government. We've seen their top executives say that they think AI can make our country safer. It can help the U.S. military defend against adversaries. They are, by all accounts, deeply patriotic as well.
Okay, so that explains why at this point in the story, all sides are working well together. When do things start to change?
Things start to change on January 9th, when the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, comes out with this pretty big memo. And he tells the military, he tells everyone across Silicon Valley that things are about to change. AI is critical for the future of warfare. China's developing AI weapons. Russia's developing AI weapons. If the U.S. wants to be competitive, AI has to be at the center of everything, from autonomous weapons like drones or fighter jets that have no pilots to data systems. And this kicks off a need for new contracts with all the AI companies, and they do what companies do. Their lawyers start sending contracts back and forth with the Pentagon's lawyers, trying to figure out how they can come to some sort of new agreement about this.
And how does that go?
They have differences, they have things that they're trying to figure out, but it's all sort of happening quietly behind the scenes. When all of a sudden something happens that ends up escalating tensions between Anthropic and the Pentagon. News reports emerged that Anthropic's Claude technology was used as part of the capture of Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's leader. And I think it was even surprising, confusing for people who work at Anthropic, who did not know if their technology was used in the Maduro raid. But whether or not Anthropic's technology was used, at the Pentagon, the fact that a private Silicon Valley company would even be raising questions about this was seen as inappropriate. They see it as a sign that this private company that's talked a lot about safety is going to try and impose its own rules, its own guardrails, its own ideas of safety onto the Pentagon. And in the midst of all these sensitive negotiations, it suddenly becomes a crisis. It suddenly spills over from emails back and forth between lawyers to big public statements by senior figures at the Pentagon.
And what is the crux of the crisis itself?
The crux of the crisis is over Anthropic wanting to define safety and wanting to limit two specific ways in which the Pentagon can use their technology. They want it codified into their contract with the Pentagon that their technology will not be used for the mass surveillance of Americans, and it will not be used for autonomous weapons.
And why has Anthropic drawn those red lines on these uses of AI? Like, what's the rationale here?
Well, they're worried about a few different things here. First and foremost, they're not sure that AI is ready. AI might have a 1% or 2% error rate, but when it comes to something like picking a target to hit with a missile, that kind of error rate can mean life or death.
Right. Huge consequences.
Huge. Now, imagine, secondly, the PR disaster. If a news story comes out that Anthropic's AI was used to hit a target that ended up being wrong, suddenly this company has an absolute PR nightmare on their hands,
Yep.
where Americans are contending with this very real life use case where AI, or, in science fiction books, they always say the robot, it chose the wrong target and humans were killed. And thirdly, they've got to worry about their own employees. People who work there are not comfortable with working with the military. People who work there are worried about the use of AI in war. They really risk alienating a lot of the people that they paid a lot of money to come work at that company.
Right. It's worth saying that these employees are very valuable, right? There's a total talent war on to attract these people, and you don't want to risk losing them.
Yeah, that's right. They're some of the most highly sought after engineers across Silicon Valley, and that's saying a lot. We're talking about contracts potentially worth tens of millions of dollars to acquire some of these people.
Got it. So what about the Pentagon? What do they make of this?
The Pentagon is mad. They're sitting there and saying, hey, you are a private company. You do not get to make these calls. Whoever decides that AI is ready to control a weapon should be sitting here in the Pentagon, in the military. We're the ones that make these calls. And really, how dare you, is their view, as a private company, try to tell us?
Okay, folks, I'm out on the Errand again, late, and talk radio again. What you're talking about is an AI company that's private right now, that's supposed to go public, getting their first IPO. And they had a defense contract, big time defense contract, but Anthropic told the government, the Defense Department, that they can't use their AI products for defense of the country, which is ridiculous. How can you want to have a big contract with the Defense Department but tell them they can't use your AI technology for defense of the country? Why would they give you a defense contract in the first place? It's nonsense. And it's happening right when Anthropic is going to go public. And I was going to invest in that company, and I'm glad I found out. So what happened was Trump told them, no, we're not going to give you a multi-billion-dollar contract, and we can't use a product for the defense contract that we're giving it to you for, which is nonsense. And Trump is right. So I had to share that, how AI is changing the whole country. So now this AI company, Anthropic, is trying to sue the Defense Department from canceling their contract, which is nonsense. Man, the world we're living in now. Y'all have a nice evening.